Celebrity, and welcome to my Wonder Woman crochet top tutorial. For this project I am using maroon yarn from the brand Impeccable in size 4 as well as gold yarn. I don't know what size it is, but I know it's from Vanna's Choice. I'm also using a little bit of black yarn, but that's optional. So again, the maroon yarn I am using is from the brand Impeccable and it is a size 4. I am also using a size 5mm hook. And the first thing that you're going to do when you're creating this Wonder Woman corset crochet top is what you always do. Make a slip knot and then chain a chain that is long enough to cover from one side of your ribs to the other side, which is basically from here to here. And once you've already done that, then you're going to go back on that chain using a single crochet. And if you don't know what a single crochet is, then you may be very new to crochet, so I would suggest that you watch my Crocheting for Beginners video that I will link in the description box below. So go ahead and watch that, practice that for a while, maybe watch some of my earlier, more beginner-friendly videos, which honestly, I think this is kind of beginner-friendly, but I have even friendlier beginner-friendly videos in my earlier tutorials. So yeah, basically you're going to create single crochet for that entire row, and once you reach the end of that row, then you're going to create your last single crochet, chain 1, flip it over, go into that first stitch right there, create a single crochet, and then just make more single crochets throughout the entire row until you reach the end, and then do the exact same thing. And you're going to create as many rows of single crochet as you need to cover from the bottom of your breast to wherever you want to cover, which it would be, for me, right below my ribs because I really wanted it to be a crop top. But if you want to cover down to your belly button, then make as many rows as it takes for the project to cover down to your belly button. So there's no set number of rows. Just go by your own body and how you want to make your own top. Again, mine is a crop top, so this is as many rows as I made, just to cover down to my ribs. And now we're actually going to work on the cup portion of the top. And what I like to do is I like to put this project, as it is right now, against my body, and then mark out from where to where do I need to make a cup in order to cover myself. So I marked out these two areas, so from here to here is where I need to make my cup in order to fit everything so that nothing shows. And you could place markers there, or you could do what I do and simply stretch out those stitches. That way you know from where to where you're going to work. And what I also like to do is just single crochet my way to my first marker. But you don't have to do that. You can detach the yarn ball and then attach it to where you're going to work and then start working from there. So I have just reached my first marker right here, and I'm just going to single crochet my way to the second marker. So the first marker is going to be the closest one from the end of the last row that you created. And then once you pass that one, you're going to single crochet as you normally would to your second marker, which is going to be more towards the center of the project. And once you've reached your second marker, which I have I reached it yet? Nope, I still have a couple of stitches left. But anyway, once you reach your second marker, should be coming up soon. And right here. Okay, once you reach your second marker, you're going to chain 1, flip it over, and then start creating your next row of single crochet as you normally would. You're just going to ignore the rest of the project and just focus on the area between your first marker and your second marker. You're only going to focus on creating the cup and not have to worry about anything else about the project. So once you made 2 rows of single crochet, one going this way and then the other one going back, you're going to do something a little different. Now we want the cup portion of the top to actually bulge out a little bit, so we need to actually add stitches. And the way I do it is I go somewhere in the middle, just a random stitch, and I create 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. And then I go ahead and create normal single crochets for about 4 to 5 different stitches. And then again, I create 2 single crochets inside of 1 stitch. And then I just continue on my way with normal single crochets until I reach the end. And what I did there was, of course, I added stitches. So now there's more single crochets to be made in the following rows. So that's going to create a little bulge, or at least it's going to help you create the bulge, because as we will learn in a little bit, there's actually another thing you have to do in order to actually create that bulge. So after you've added your extra stitches, you just continue making rows of single crochet normally until you have made enough single crochets, or you have made enough rows so when you put the project against yourself, it covers half of your breast. So again, just continue making rows of single crochet like this until you put it against yourself and you can cover half of yourself. And once you have reached that point, of course, everyone has different sizes, so they're going to require a different number of rows. Since I have a very small chest, it took me just, a little bit of rows. Again, I never count, so it didn't really take me that long to get to this point. But for you, it might take a little longer, it might be even faster, I don't know. But basically, once you reach that point, what you're going to do is start from one of the ends of the rows and single crochet into the first stitch as normal. Then you're going to skip over the second stitch and go right into the third stitch and create a regular single crochet. Then, similar to what we did when we added the extra stitch, we're actually going to do the opposite now and decrease, which means skip over a stitch. And I, again, basically do the exact same thing as I did when I added a stitch. I single crochet my way to the middle of that row, and then I skip a random stitch, and then I single crochet a couple more times and then skip another stitch, and then go to the end, a single crochet into the first stitch, skip over that second stitch, and then single crochet my way towards the middle, and then pick a stitch to skip. And I'm going to continue that pattern until I get to the point where I've decreased so much that you can't decrease anymore, and the cup closes itself. Sorry, I can't talk today. And once you have completed your cup, then you're actually just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So this is what the cup looks like once it's completed. And all I'm going to do is make my way down by single crocheting my way down the side right here to where I'm going to make my second cup, which is about from here to here. And again, I'm just going to do the exact same thing I did for this cup. The only difference is I'm going to be starting from the middle as opposed to starting from the sides like I did when I made this cup. And again, you don't have to single crochet your way down the cup like I do. You can detach the yarn from the yarn ball and then reattach it to where you're going to be working. But I like to minimize my cuts. So that's just what I do. And again, just do the exact same thing you did for the first cup, and it should look something like this. And once you've created both of your cups, well, I single crochet my way down and to the side, then I'm going to detach the yarn from the yarn ball and start working on the gold portion of the top. So you're just going to grab your gold yarn. Again, mine is from Vanna's Choice. I don't know the size. I don't know if it's called something else. I just know for sure it's from Vanna's Choice. And so you're going to grab your gold yarn and make a slip knot. And then you're going to chain a chain that is long enough so when you place it against your corset. I'm just going to call it the corset top. Just going to call it corset. When you lace it along the corset, it covers everything, because eventually, once you're done with this portion of the gold, you're going to do just that. You're going to attach it to the outline of the top. So you got to make sure that it covers everything. And once you've created a chain that is long enough to cover everything, then all you're going to do is single crochet on it for about 4 or 5 rows. But it does get a little tricky because you need to make that W in the middle. So I'm going to show you how I did that. It wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be, but you know, it's close enough. So again, just single crochet your way to the middle, to where you put it against the corset, and it's aligned with the where the W is supposed to be. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Where the inside of the cup is. Anyway, this part. So basically, once you reach that part, you're going to need to make a little W, right? So all I did was make a scallop. And if you don't know how to make a scallop, it's super easy. It's just a bunch of stitches inside of one stitch. So I made three single crochets inside of one stitch, and that made a tiny little scallop. And that's going to serve as my W. See, now it's kind of like a W now, instead of just straight. You also don't even have to do this. You can just make your gold rows of single crochet and then just align them the way you want them and sew them the way you want it to be sewn in a W shape. Then you don't have to deal with this hassle of making the stupid scallops, because yes, this was very annoying actually. So after you make your first scallop on one side, once you single crochet your way to the other side where the other part of the W will be, then you're going to create another scallop the exact same way, just 3 single crochets inside of one stitch, and you have this little scallop here. And then you're just going to create more single crochets, just finish off the row with regular single crochets. And you're going to continue with that pattern for about 4 or 5 more rows until you're happy with what you've created. And after you've created your gold piece, then you're going to attach it. So if you want to do the whole scallop thing that I did, every time you reach the scallop that you made in the previous row, you're going to single crochet your way up the side of the scallop, and then once you reach the middle of the scallop, that middle stitch, then you're going to create another scallop on top of it. That way the scallops continue to get bigger and bigger, and the W becomes more and more prominent. So when I was about halfway done with my gold piece, I decided to add in a layer of, or not a layer of, but a row of black, just so that the W really stands out. And that's where the optional piece of black yarn comes into play, because you don't have to add this middle piece in order for it to look good. I actually like the way it looks right now with just the gold, and I kind of a little bit regret adding this layer of black. But I did, so I'm just going to show you what happened. So I cut the yarn, the gold yarn from the yarn ball, and then I attached this black yarn to it right when I was halfway done. And then I just did the exact same thing, but just with one row of black yarn as opposed to gold yarn. So I single crocheted my way towards the center where the scallops were, and then I single crocheted up the scallop, and once I reached the top of the scallop, I single crocheted 3 times inside of the same stitch. That way I could continue making that scallop look like a W and make it nice and prominent. And once I was done with that, then I just single crocheted my way to the second one, did the exact same thing, and then finished off the row. And after I was done with that row of black, I reattached the gold yarn and then finished off the project by doing the exact same thing. And finishing off my gold piece. And once I was done with the gold piece, then it looks something like this. Again, the black didn't really make it look as nice as I hoped it would. So I would suggest, now looking back on it, to just stick with the gold. Unless you like the black, of course, but I'm just saying that I think I like the gold much better. And then you're just going to attach your gold piece to the outline of your corset. And I just use it using the same gold yarn that I used for the gold piece. But you can use string and thread, wow, a needle and thread, and just sew it in. But I'm just crocheting it in because I'm too lazy to go get my needle and thread. But this is also an effective way to attach it. All I do is I insert my hook through the back and then make sure that the piece is aligned to where I want it to be, and then stick my hook through to the front, grab the yarn, bring it back through the back, and then it's attached. That's all there is to it. I mean, sometimes it could get a little bit tricky because the yarn gets stuck, but for the most part it wasn't so bad. So just make sure that your gold piece is aligned exactly how you want it to look. And it may be tricky sometimes because the piece moves around a lot. So constantly be checking that you're attaching it the way that you want it to look like. And that's just to avoid it looking weird and wonky, because you want to be Wonder Woman and not Wonky Woman or Weird Woman. Just Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman has a lovely gold piece attached to her corset, or maybe it's part of her corset already. I don't know if it's an attachment, but anyway, make sure that everything is aligned just right. And I also added this little scallop in the middle here because the W wasn't as prominent as I wanted it to be with just the piece alone. So I just went in and added that scallop in the middle. You could do the same if you feel the same as well. And now for the very last step, to make the straps. And making the straps is super easy. You just have to go to the bottom of the corset and attach the maroon yarn to the project. This is how I attach it. You can attach it however way you want, tying a knot, what have you. And then chaining a chain of about 150 or more. For me, I make 150 chains for my straps. And then to make it look like a corset, I take one side of the strap, take it over to the opposite side, attach it there, then I take it over again to the original side and attach it here, then one more time to the opposite side, right under the gold piece, and I attach it right under the gold piece, like so. And then one last time over to the original side, right at the very top. And then I just attach it like this. Just bring it through with my hook. Then I do the exact same thing, except on the other side. So, I grab one side of my strap, reach it over to the opposite side, put my hook through the stitch, and then pull it through. And I just do that a couple more times until I reach the very top, and then I'm done with the corset portion. And essentially finished with the top and ready to rock it. So I hope you enjoy your Wonder Woman crochet top and enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and also click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye!